Jonathan Pollard, Florida employment lawyer. I'm going to talk today about filing your EEOC charge. So this is really for anybody who finds themselves in a situation where they might have to file a charge with the EEOC themselves. I'm just going to walk you through some very specific and significant considerations. First, let me explain to you what has to go through the EEOC. Okay, anytime that you want to assert federal rights under what's called Title VII, Title VII is the main employment discrimination law, but also the ADEA, which is the age discrimination law, or the ADA, which prohibits disability discrimination. Anytime you want to assert any federal rights under these various laws and statutes, you have to file a charge of discrimination with the EEOC. The EEOC is a government agency. It's a federal agency. And so to protect and preserve your rights before you can ever go to court, before you can ever file a lawsuit, you have to first go through the EEOC, okay? Remember, as I've said before, America does not have a justice system. Okay, so many people out there say justice system, and then they seem confused when the results are injustice. Okay, it's not a justice system, people. It's a legal system. That's completely different. Don't get it twisted. The system has nothing to do with justice. It should have something to do with justice. It should be about facilitating and accomplishing and achieving justice. But that's not really what the goal of the system is. It's a legal system. It's designed by rich and powerful people and corporations. And so part of the object of the system is to prevent people from vindicating their rights. And that's why they've created things like the EEOC and the Florida Human Rights Commission, right? These entities, these government bodies, these administrative agencies exist as an obstacle that you have to overcome before you can file a lawsuit and go to court. And if you don't, one, file with the EEOC or with the Florida Human Rights Commission, if you don't, one, file, but two, file correctly, you can be completely screwed and you lose your rights. You can't pursue a lawsuit. That's why the system is set up that way. It's set up to create a barrier and an obstacle to prevent people from going to court. And then what they do is they graft on top of that, not just the requirement that you go and file with the EEOC or with the Florida Commission, but that you do it and use certain magic words, right? And that is really some fuckery, okay? Because the civil rights laws, okay, broadly constituted, broadly defined civil rights laws, okay, are supposed to be liberally construed, right? What's that mean, liberal construction? Well, basically that means we're supposed to interpret them and apply them in the broadest way possible to achieve their remedial goals, right? To achieve justice on behalf of the people, right? We're supposed to apply these laws in the most generous way possible so that we give everybody, right, the benefit of the doubt if they're trying to vindicate their rights. That's what a fair system would work like, right? That's what we would do if we had a justice system, but we don't have a justice system. We have a legal system, and so when you have a legal system, they make you use magic words, and it turns into a game of gotcha. Justice should never be about playing a game of gotcha and saying magic words, but again, back to square one, this is not a fucking justice system, it's a legal system, okay? And so I'm gonna tell you a big part of how you navigate this particular aspect, this particular game of gotcha in America's legal system, okay? You have to file with the EEOC, or you're in Florida, you can file with the Florida Human Rights Commission, but I say don't do that, okay? I say don't do that. File with the EEOC, okay? And make sure somewhere in there you say that you want to dual file, okay? DUAL, dual file. That means you want it filed not just with the EEOC, but you also want it filed with the Florida Human Rights Commission, okay? That's one, say you want it dual filed. Two, okay, you file with the EEOC, make sure you indicate, make sure you state explicitly, clear as day, that you want to pursue remedies for illegal discrimination under federal law and state law. And if possible, when you're talking about the state law, say you want to pursue claims for violations of the Florida Civil Rights Act. The emperor has no clothes, people. It's all a scam, right? And that's the proof that it's a scam. You should be able to file a charge with the EEOC or the Florida Human Rights Commission, and you should be able to just say, I was discriminated against, and here's the facts of what happened to me. It should not be incumbent upon a non-lawyer, a working person, somebody who might be unsophisticated. It should not be incumbent upon such a person to say the right law or say the right statute or quote the right statute or identify the right statute. It should be enough in America. If this is a country that gives a shit about justice, it should be enough for somebody to say, I was discriminated against. My rights were violated. Here's the facts of what happened. I want to pursue my legal remedies. You shouldn't have to identify the relevant law or statute or case you're proceeding under, right? How mind-blowing is that? Say you got some poor guy working construction, making $14 an hour, barely speaks English, and you mean to tell me that for this cat to vindicate his rights in America, right? Supposed to be this paramount, shining example, city on a hill, first world nation, model for the world, right? In America, KKK America. Supposed to be a shining star. But you mean to tell me this poor, unsophisticated homie working construction, barely speak a lick of English, probably doesn't have a computer, if he doesn't say the Florida Civil Rights Act, that he somehow waived his state law claims and remedies? That is egregious. That is perverse, it's regressive, it's inhumane, it is against the letter and spirit of the law. And America should be better than that. Florida should be better than that. But of course, Florida is not better than that because Florida is a slave state, okay? I've talked about that elsewhere, all right? But the bottom line here is you have to jump through the hoops. You have to climb over the obstacles, and you have to dot the I's and cross the T's. And if you don't do it correctly, you could lose your claims. You could lose your right to go to court, file a lawsuit, fully vindicate yourself. And remember, okay, you're following along for the folks at home who want to learn some law, okay? When you deal with certain things like age discrimination, for instance, federal age discrimination law gives you back pay and front pay, okay? And sometimes you can get back pay times 2, liquidated damages, but you can't get what's called compensatory damages. You can't get damages for pain, suffering, emotional distress, depression, loss of dignity, etc. You can't get that. But if you have a Florida state law claim there under what's called the FCRA, the Florida Civil Rights Act, you can get compensatory damages, which are technically uncapped or unlimited. Now, judges on the back end will come in and sort of press it down and sort of cut some of your damages down. Some judges more than other judges. That gets into, all sorts of shenanigans in terms of what's called remittitor and everything else. But you potentially have an unlimited or uncapped bucket of damages under the Florida Civil Rights Act. So that's why whenever you pursue these cases, any sort of discrimination case that involves Title VII, the ADEA, the ADA, age discrimination, disability discrimination, gender discrimination, right? It's imperative that you also pursue the Florida Civil Rights Act claims, the state law claims, because that's going to give you a more advantageous bucket of damages. And further, In some instances, you have obstacles related to coverage, meaning whether or not the relevant law covers the employer, because coverage is predicated on number of employees, okay? And there's different thresholds, right? There's different thresholds. Sometimes you're in a situation where, the ADEA, the Age Discrimination Act, only covers you if you have 20 employees or more. But the Florida Civil Rights Act covers you if you have 15. So you got a gap there. You sometimes got coverage issues. The bottom line there is you always want to assert both federal and state law claims. And so in your charge, you need to indicate that you want it dual filed with the EEOC and with the state of Florida. And you have to indicate that you want to pursue all of your rights and remedies for illegal discrimination, including under federal and state law, and with respect to state law, specifically under the Florida Civil Rights Act. Law and justice should never be a game of gotcha, and it should never be about magic words, but it is. And so how do we combat that, right? What do we do? Do we just beat our head against a wall and say it's not fair? No, right? We just spread the word, right? Democracy is coming to the USA, Leonard Cohen style, okay? Spread the word so that people know how to do this. When push comes to shove, they know how to do this and can do this themselves. That's a big part of what I do, okay, with the law, right? I am genuinely trying to help the people and educate the people, okay? I am trying to empower you with this knowledge, right? They want to make it into a game of gotcha. Okay, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to teach the masses how to play a fucking game of gotcha and win. Jonathan Pollard, here's looking out. Take care. Have a good day.